Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the planet, around the world. My name is Gregg Prescott from in5d.com. And you're tuned into another Spirit Chat here on February 22nd, 2020. Today is 2/22/2020, and at 2:22 p.m., I'm going to be doing a raffle for a free shirt for everybody that is on our Patreon family. That includes anyone from 111 up. At 2:22, you're entered into a contest. We have 100 Patreon family members, and you're all listed in that. So anyone that's listed right here, these are basically your numbers. Starting at number 1 would be Karen, number 2, Jeanette, all the way down to Anastasia, number 100. So we'll be doing that at 2:22. Looking forward to that. Somebody's going to get a free shirt. Excited for them. And I've been busy doing shirts yesterday and today. So today I've got some new ones that I made. And I've got some. Let me just go right here. Okay. So yeah, I made some new shirts today and worked on this. This one is the one that, oops, let me go like this. Yeah. Yeah, this one is the one that I really, really like. It's like 4 different colors. And so I made one of each color, or one of each size rather, and plus 4 ice dyes of this. So I can't wait to see how the ice dyes come out. And if it comes out really good, then I only made 3 because I'm keeping 1 for myself. And I also did some more of these blue ones too. So stay tuned. I should have them uploaded tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Here's a funny story. I had to block Jesus yesterday. There was a Jesus Christ in the chat room, and he's like, "Why don't you talk about Jesus?" Well, that's not my thing to talk about. Why don't you talk about him elsewhere? And I went to his channel, and it's basically a new account. So he's basically spamming people. And so I ended up blocking Jesus. So put that one down in the record book. Jesus, you're out of here. Anyway, excited about what's going on in the world. Let's take a peek at this. This is our in5D Patreon page. And right now we have 100 members, exactly 100 family members here at our in5D Patreon. That's patreon.com/in5D. At the 111, you get the live Zoom chats. You get notified of that. So it's a good reason, if nothing else, because sometimes, I'm screwed on Facebook. And I'll definitely post it on Patreon. So you get that. You can also comment on these videos that I'm uploading to YouTube as well. You can comment on those, and you get listed on the Patreon wall of Eternal Gratitude page. And for $5.55, you get all that, plus ad-free articles and the Insiders Club private chat, which we don't say anything in that group that goes outside the group. It stays within our group. It's not meant for public consumption. So what comes there basically stays there. So, what I end up saying, you're going to hear some stuff from me that I'm not going to put out there publicly, and other people can feel free to do the same. So we have that on the first Wednesday of every month. Join us for that. And then at 11:11, you get all that, plus exclusive Afterthoughts videos featuring me, and then an exclusive mid-month energy report, which I put out about 5 days ago. So you get all that, and there's different tiers that you can explore there as well. So I guess before we get started, before I open up the chat rooms, I just want to go through this real quick. This is Symptoms of Energy Shifts. It's an article by Marie Southern. And just things that you may have been experiencing lately, because we were talking yesterday, if you had the opportunity to check that out, about symptoms of a Mercury retrograde, there's things that you wouldn't think about that are symptomatic of a Mercury retrograde. For example, you might have headaches and stress from things falling apart on you, you know, so check that out on yesterday's video. But these are just symptoms of energy shifts. And we've been going through a bunch of them right now. So some of you may be experiencing headaches. When the crown chakra opens or expands, it can be intense and painful experience. It might feel like a spike or a rod is being inserted. Headaches are common and they can range from migraines to cluster headaches. Women seem to experience them more than men. It can be caused by too much energy flowing through the crown chakra, by hormonal changes, which occurs when the chakras are stimulated. Sometimes the pain can be eased by asking spirit and your higher self to make an adjustment in the energy flow. When you ask for aid to ease the pain, and it is part of the process that is opening and expanding your pineal and pituitary gland, the pain will only lessen. As your vibrational rate increases, the pineal and pituitary glands expand to accommodate the higher energy frequencies. Other glands change also, but these two are the major ones that contribute to headaches. This can last a few months or a few years, depending on what level of spiritual development that you are at and your rate of growth. I know a lot of people have been experiencing headaches as a common symptom of energy shifts. So I honestly don't get a lot of headaches. What I'll get though is like pressure. Sometimes I'll get pressure from the back of the head pushing forward, but it's not really a headache. So other people might be experiencing flu-like symptoms. I'm not going to read all these, but we'll just go over the main topics. Nausea, loose bowel movements, diarrhea. It's interesting though, and you can see how they're associated with, like, for example, the headaches with the crown chakra and the nausea and the loose bowel movements with the solar plexus, right? It makes sense because that's the area of the body where they're located, right? Muscle aches and joint pain, depression, crying for no reason, purging, right? Feeling emotionally vulnerable. I think a lot of us have gone through that. Fluttering, pain in the heart, maybe a heart attack, right? Or breathing problems. I'm going to read this one, just see what it has to say. Maybe it has something to do with me having a heart attack last year. This is a symptom experienced when the heart chakra begins to open or enlarge to receive more energy. Okay. Pain sensations in the heart and not being able to breathe can be very frightening because you may think you're having a heart attack, or you might just be having one. The above symptoms are caused by the expansion of energy running through your solar plexus and heart chakra, the heart and stomach area. The best solution is to relax, which will adjust the energy flow. Anxiety and fear only constricts the energy, thus causing a more severe reaction. This is normal. This is a normal experience when undergoing a frequency increase. Okay, so I'm not going to say ladies, some people might have hot flashes and night and day sweats, because I think that is non-gender specific. There's been times where I'm just sweating profusely and there's no reason to. The temperature in my house might be like, 74 or whatever. I shouldn't be sweating in that. Extreme tiredness. This one makes a lot of sense to a lot of us. Because when we sleep, we get our downloads. So a lot of you may be going through extreme tiredness or excessive energy. As the energy ebbs and flows, it might make you tired, it might pick you up. Weight gain. Well, this time of the year, right, after the holidays, I think a lot of people went through weight gain, but with a lot of us on this fruitarian diet right now, many of us are losing that weight. Losing your memory or feeling spacey. extreme sensitivity. And that could go for like, each one of your chakra areas as well. Anything associated with each one of your chakras. Blowing light bulbs and electronics. Let's not even go there. It's Mercury retrograde. Animal reactions. You will find that dogs and cats and other animals will become aware of your energy and be frightened of it or want to be around it all the time. Food changes. And then there's other ones here listed as well. But you can find this article on N5D. And of course, as always, I'll put a link in the more info section at the bottom of the page. It's 2:21 right now, though. And 20 seconds, 21, 22. So let me bring up the random number generator. Here it is. So all I do is click this generate number and it gives us a number. Click, 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 click. So I haven't done the official one yet, but at 2:22:22, let's do it at 2:22:22. 2 minutes, 21, 2 hours, 21 minutes and 22 seconds. I'm going to hit that generate number. Wouldn't it be funny if it's 22? So we got 22 seconds to find out who is our winner. 10, 11, 12, and good luck to whoever that person is. 18, 19, 20, 21. Click. It's 43. So let's figure out who that is. 1, 2, Beverly's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Gail's 20. It's 30. I think that would be Nicole Bars. Let me just double check that. It is correct. So congratulations, Nicole. I will be getting in touch with you on Patreon and start looking for whatever shirt it is that you want on n5d.net, and I'll be sending it out to you. So we'll be doing other raffles on my Patreon page. I have a necklace that I want to give away because it fell off, this pendant that fell off my necklace. And I did this earlier with this pendant that I had. I have another one that's really cool and beautiful, but it fell off, and I figure each time they fall off, it's time to give them away. So I'll probably do a raffle for that. We'll probably do some more raffles on shirts for people as well on n5d.net. So with all that being said, once again, congratulations, Nicole Bears, B-A-A-R-S. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I'm going to unmute everybody in the chat room. Sorry about the confusion that we had earlier.
we were just talking about that Mercury retrograde striking again. You were just going and going and going. And
crazy. Yeah. Fortunately, I can just roll back everything on YouTube and it can start right there where I said, okay, here we go again. And when I finally got some audio, but so how's everybody doing on 2/22/2020?
Alive and walking the walk.
Yeah.
I'm out here soaking up the sunshine while it lasts, because we still have flash flood warnings and all the rivers are overflowing in Alabama. So, and we have rain in the forecast. So I thought I'd come out and just get some sunshine while it's out here. And boy, it sure feels good.
Did you have a tornado watch there?
No, we never had a severe storm near me, but we had torrential rain. Gosh, most of the last couple of weeks, really. usually it rains 1 to 2 inches max, and we've been getting 5, 6, 7 inches in some places. Wow. That's a good thing, because I mean, gosh, 5 years ago we were in a drought down here. You know, I mean, it lasted for like 3 or 4 years. So things happen. You know, everybody prayed for rain, and we got it.
Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me okay. There's a major highway about 75 yards away, but I hope the traffic noise isn't too bad.
I can't hear
I'll
anything.
just go back inside.
No, I don't hear the traffic at all.
Okay, cool. Good. That's great. This thing has a directional mic on it, apparently. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, right across from the highway, there's like a mountain, and that's where there's a big state park. And that's where I'm heading with my little scooter the next sunny day we have.
Yeah, we're only expecting a high of 72 today. It's not going to be, and then, yeah, it's going to be.
I think it's 60, but with the sun out, you can sit out here. It's comfortable, you know?
Yeah. But by Thursday, it's only going to be 61 for the high in Florida. So, you know,
we're supposed to get like more cold coming too.
Yeah. Apparently a big cold front is pushing through.
But anyway, I didn't want to talk about the weather too much. I just wanted to say hello, and you know, I'm out here soaking in the sunshine and keeping positive. I have really been this morning. I had a chance to do some, you know, meditations about, you know, positivity and, you know, trying to get my chakras balanced and things like that. And I'm heading in the right direction. And, you know, I think I'm trying to keep the love vibration in my heart as high as I can right now, you know, and just kind of be broadcasting. I mean, even when I see something depressing like on the news, I don't watch the news much. I just want to get the weather, but they always have, you know, oh my goodness, the latest tragedy. And it's like, you know, I try to send love to everybody involved, you know, and just try not to get emotionally caught up in it, and just try to, you know, hold the space for myself to kind of, you know, bring love into the world. That's what I'm doing right now. So
that's awesome. Well, we need more people like Gary Hall in this world, putting that energy out there for the collective. Thank you. So what's that in your picture, Dawn?
That is my Can-Am spider, the love of my life. Well, my husband's okay too, but that spider is the love of my life.
And I want one of those so badly, because it is a type of motorcycle that an amputee can ride. I used to ride a Kawasaki 400 back in the day, and I missed having a motorcycle. And I've actually been kind of chatting with Dawn about, you know, does this thing work for me? And she's encouraging me to try one out. So I'm going to go test drive one this summer when it gets a little bit warmer.
Can-Am is a huge supporter of the Road Warriors. So we have vets and wounded vets missing arms and legs and, you know, other injuries that get on these and ride cross country with Can-Am. So they really support.
That is my road trip. I am called. I need to head out to Arizona. I've got a niece who lives out there that I haven't seen in about 15 years. And I've got to go to Sedona. I've heard so much about it, and I've read so much about it, and it's calling me. So that's in the plan. Road trip.
Be sure and take your spider. It's an awesome trip. In fact, this picture is in Sedona that I have up here. And I am in St. George, so I'm 10 miles from Arizona. If you trek out here, yank my chain. Let me know.
Unfortunately, people on YouTube can't see your picture.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, you make it out to St. George, holler. We got some great areas, and we'll do some road time.
Yeah, on YouTube, all they see is your name. Which canyon is that? Or which vortice?
You know, it's one of the little pullouts in Sedona. I don't even remember which one it is. I do have the sign in the picture, but it's off to the left more. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. This is like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to Sedona. I love the energy there. A lot of people, some people, not a lot of people, some people are saying that, it's a trap there. There's a lot of negative energy. I don't see it. I don't feel it.
I don't either. And I find it very refreshing and freeing. And I leave there with none of the baggage I got there with. So, people are people and they say all kinds of things, and the world affects people differently. I let them have their view and I keep mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would think that, those are the same people that are probably the evangelicists and, the Southern Baptists,
Yeah.
people that don't understand us.
Well, and they don't want to, because their comfort zone is very tight around them, and if they expand that, then oh no, there's more to this world than what's written here. So they can't do that,
No,
and that's okay.
it's funny how the Bible talks about, you're not supposed to use any forms of divinity, but yet most of the Bible's written from people that were channeling something or someone or another, right?
Well, when God is talking to you, what is that?
Right.
The great divine, right? So
Yeah, and don't forget also the Bible that we have is the edited approved version. There were a lot of books that were kept out of the Bible after a big conference in like the 1400s, right? I mean, so, who's to say where it comes from, really, and
Right. And it was written by a Freemason. So, there's Freemason secrets in there. And anyone that knows anything about Freemasonry, if you go into a Freemason lodge, you'll see a Christian Bible there. But once you get up to like the 30th level and higher, it switches over to Luciferianism. I actually saw a copy of that doctrine. And honestly, it's not that you would think it's like all death and this and that. No, it's not that. It's not that bad. I don't support it. I'm definitely not, that kind of person. But they talk about a lot of metaphysical things in the Luciferian doctrine. So, I'm not going to judge it one way or the other. Because I do know that eventually a lot of these people that are tied into that also go into the satanistic bullshit that goes on. If you look at some of these world leaders and stuff that do all the, the child sacrifice and stuff like that, I almost wonder if they're tied together. Although, like people like Manly P. Hall was amazing. He was a 33rd degree Mason. And you look at all the material that he put out, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So I guess ultimately, use your own discernment, and go within for whatever
yeah, I
answer.
mean, the whole Masonic influence on the founding of our country, some people, George Washington, real high Mason. There's a monument to George Washington in D.C., the Masonic, temple there to him. And some people actually say that like some of the ascended masters, like Saint Germain, were present or were influencing things like the Declaration of Independence being written, So, who's to say how much that stuff has influenced the world really since the beginning,
Yeah. Yeah. I've also heard that there are like different, that they have the Scottish Rite, and there's different sects of the Freemasonry that are different completely from the other. So, to say they're all bad and that they're all evil, all I know is, they do switch over from the Christian Bible to the Luciferian doctrine, but and as evil and as bad as that sounds, it's not that bad, because if you look up Lucifer in the Bible, he's only mentioned like 3 or 4 times, and there's nothing bad about him written in the Bible. He, so, and if this doctrine
I
is,
mean, somebody has to be the antagonist, I mean, that's the way things work, I mean, somebody had to be selected to be the one to betray Jesus. That was Judas, somebody had to be that guy, that's just how things unfold in life. That's the natural way, isn't it?
the thing
Yin
I
and
don't,
yang.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing I don't agree with Freemasonry is the Ordo Ab Chao motto that they have at that 33rd degree.
Yeah.
Order out of chaos. So they intentionally create all this chaos. Problem, reaction, solution, basically, right?
Yeah.
Create the
and I mean,
problem, there's a reaction, then solution, order out of chaos. So
in that case, there's always somebody who has to be the agent of chaos somewhere.
So I wonder if ultimately that's what they're trying to push through Freemasonry, is the chaos would be Christianity and the order would be the Luciferianism. I wonder if that's what they're trying to ultimately push.
Who knows? I mean, I look at also, I mean, like, some people, I mean, like, there are secret organizations that have, their basis in the mystery schools, and like the Shriners, I mean, all of their symbols are really not really Christian symbols, but yet they do a lot of charity. The Shriners Hospital, they help children. So in the end, I look at that as a good thing. That's a way of getting people, motivated to try to help, dedicated to a cause,
What if?
Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be taking over the conversation.
No, this is good. This is good. No, I appreciate the input, because what if, okay, so what if the doctrine wasn't called the Luciferian doctrine? What if it was called the Gary doctrine? Where it's not, it doesn't have that connotation.
Putting that label on it does automatically turn a lot of people off, I mean, like, yeah. And I got to tell you, when I was like 13, one of my best friends, all of a sudden, it seemed like overnight, became a Satanist. And he actually, he actually had me read the Satanist Bible. And like, I read about the first chapter and I got, this is garbage. This is just trying to manipulate and use people for your own advantage by using dark magic, blah, 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 threw that away, but I rejected that. But still, just labeling something as, most people don't understand that, Lucifer started out as an angel, apparently, and then that's what happened. Somebody had to be the ultimate evil, and I guess it was his role,
But he wasn't even evil, if you
look.
Well,
yeah, I mean, he was just him. Yeah, he didn't want to follow the rules, because I mean, like, good grief, look at the difference between the Old and the New Testament and the Bible that we have. I mean, the Old Testament, all God was this angry guy up on a cloud hurling lightning bolts if you didn't toe the line.
Right.
The New Testament was all about, do unto others, and love is the way to go. Love is the way to live. And, I think Jesus was just an ascended person like Buddha, somebody who had figured everything out, that kind of thing. That's how I look at him, and I think his teachings were co-opted by men in order to control other men. Like the Catholic Church became the richest thing on ever because, you used to be able to buy your way out of sin, that kind of thing. So anyway.
Yeah, they at one point they were offering people not only them, but their entire lineage. You can buy out of hell. Okay, so you can put a price on going to hell or not going to hell.
Yeah, I mean,
I can do whatever I want.
That's why Jesus was in the temple
money.
overturning the money changers and everything. They turned the house of God into a money lender's pit. That's exactly what happened. It was actually prophecy also.
Yeah, and then
anyway,
Yeah, no, I mean, there is I think a Catholic bishop that admits that hell was made up by the church anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just made up to control people. That's what religion is. It's made up by men to control other men, using the truths and kind of warping the message, you know? Because I mean, still, you know, you're supposed to be able to ask forgiveness and your sins are forgiven. Well, that's the same thing as, why don't you just believe in a loving universe where everything drives towards love and light, and just, you know, believe in the light and the love, and that's all you have to do, really, you know?
Believe in yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly.
really, it's like, gosh, I mean, who is it? Matt Kahn. I listen to some of his stuff too, and you know, he's really teaching about the love revolution now, the love energy pouring into the planet. But you know, 5 years ago, it was all about, well, you don't have to struggle to be enlightened. You just need to relax and just accept and surrender. There it is, you know. I mean, voila, the secret.
Well, also many times though, people give their energy away. They give it to the church. They beg and pray, and you know, when they have the energy, they've had the energy all along, but they just keep giving it away. Here, I don't realize how powerful and how strong I am.
Well,
Here,
yeah, I
here.
mean, it's like you say, you know, I mean, if like they've documented, if they get 5,000 people together meditating at one time in that country, in that area, crime goes down, murder goes down.
Maharishi effect, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's proven that we have that power. If we all get together, that's why everything the other side does is built to keep us under control, because that's why we're at each other's throats, you know, liberal versus conservative, black versus white, you know, all those artificial boundaries we put around us that separate us and keep us from knowing that in the end we're all one, you know. I mean, if I'm hurting myself, I'm actually hurting everybody. I'm hurting, you know, I'm hurting you, because everybody's connected, you know.
Part of the Freemasons' prayer is, when two or three are gathered together in thy name, thou will be in thy midst and bless them. Think about that. That's exactly what you're talking about with the Maharishi effect. When two or three, whether it's two or three or 2,000, 3,000, 20,000, 30,000, it's the
I mean,
power
if we wanted to, we could
magnifies.
end war tomorrow if everybody just got together and decided not to fight a war, you know.
Well,
But that
do it.
doesn't serve their purpose.
Yeah.
no.
And I mean, the women could really help with that, because I believe, like in Northern Ireland, one of the reasons originally they started talking to each other back when the troubles were going on back in the 60s, back when I was a kid, back in the late 60s, actually, both sides, the women got together and decided, you know what, we're tired of our men killing each other, so we're not going to make love to them until they get together and talk. And guess what? It worked. They got together and talked, and that eventually led to a ceasefire. So, you know, it could happen.
I've often said that.
I'm not saying that sex is everything, but you know, you got to say it's one of the primal urges. You know, it's part of who we are on this planet, and if we wanted to end war, we could. You know, just do it.
I've often said on in 5D that, you know, once the bottom of the pyramid unites, the rest of it collapses. And that's obviously why they keep us, you know, at each other, creating dissension and making it look like it's a lot worse than what it is. It's not as bad as what they're showing us. You know, we're coming together more and more, but yet, you know, you have these agent provocateurs, and of course somebody there with a camera showing, you know, whatever they're going to show to keep us, number one, distracted, and number two, from coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they're plugging into the fear factor. If they can keep us afraid, then they can keep us in line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that all boils down to, you know, the Bible and subservience, control, and conformity. It's the same template as every government. It's a winning combination if you want to control people.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why they had to rewrite the books, pick and choose which ones fit their government idea and the way they want to run their society. And that's how they chopped up the Bible and rewrote it and massacred it.
It seems that we're moving beyond religion. Honestly, I don't see religion in 5D.
No, and it's not. And that's why you have such a huge conservative uprising right now, because the writing's on the wall and they can read. They're just in denial.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at how many years in the past people couldn't even talk about this, or they'd, get accused of heresy, or being a witch, or, burned at the stake, hung.
Well, I mean, look at the, what is it? Here in Alabama, we have Spectrum TV, and they're doing some hilarious commercials about, like the other night, one of them was there's two guys standing at the pit of a volcano, and the guy walks up and goes, "What's up?" And he goes, "Well, you jump in the volcano, it rains, and we get crops, and everybody's fed." He goes, "Well, why don't we take the water from the river and take it to the crops?" And everybody's going, "Well, no, everybody's here already. Don't disappoint them. Just do it." And he goes, "Okay, cheerio," pops in, and it's like every now and then somebody gets a better idea. Well, usually the people that get the better ideas, the first when they start talking about it, they find themselves stoned to death or something for being a heretic. That's kind of what happens. So.
Because we are seated in our tradition, and there will be no changes, even for the better.
Yep. But it's happening, I mean, one thing that's running through my head constantly now is the songs from the Summer of Love, like, come on, people now, smile at your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another, all that feeling, that vibe, it's really come back multiplied by about 8,000 million bazillion percent, I think, just from the energy coming in, and they're constantly running through my head, and it's like, maybe we need to start listening to those kind of songs again, because it's such a great vibe, and it's really what we're working for, and music is such a big influence on everything. I think, it's frequency and vibration, which is what everything in the universe is composed of. And I think everybody has their own individual song, and it's like, we just all got to kind of learn how to sing in harmony better,
Remember, has anyone ever saw that one meme where these two boys with these little peanut brains are laughing and pointing at this little kid that's sitting down, and he's curled up, and he's got the big brain, but these little pea brains are laughing and ridiculing at the one that has the big brain? Isn't that the way it is, if you think outside the box?
Well, I mean, I used to make really, really good grades in elementary school, but I was labeled as a brain and a nerd and a know-it-all. And, I was actually kind of bullied for making good grades and made fun of. And then when I got into high school, I just kind of didn't give a crap anymore and went from a straight A student to a straight C/D student. And, people still bullied me, made fun of me, I mean, I took the ACT test for college, and I scored like in the 95th percentile or something like that. And my guidance counselor was like, "What the heck, boy? Why don't you actually make good grades? You're smart." And I'm going like, "Well, I'm just bored, I'm just bored."
I get it. I totally get it, dude. Because I was the same way. On the back of every report card in grade school, fails to pay attention. Every quarter, fails to pay attention. I'd sit by a window, I'd look out, I'd daydream. I graduated high school near the bottom of my class because it was boring. I went to summer school almost every year. But eventually I got into college. I don't know how. I joined a fraternity, partied my ass off, flunked out miserably twice. But I went back as an adult learner and put myself through that time. And I graduated with honors for both my BA and my master's degrees, because I was actually taking something that I found interesting, psychology.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me, except I went through the military. I ran away from home and joined the American Legion. I enlisted. I want duty in Germany. Send me to Germany, Did my time in the Army, found my career that, supported me all through my life until I retired. And, came back home and got back into college because I flunked out the first semester because, first time away from home, and I discovered beer, you know, but
I just discovered
anyway,
a fraternity.
I go
Yeah.
back to school at like 26, 27 years old, you know, and everybody else in college, they're there. I mean, like, I used to have to ask people, please, could you be quiet and let me hear what he's saying up there, the professor, you know, because I'm actually trying to learn something here. Because, you know, your freshman class is like 300 people in an auditorium, you know. And I mean, in some classes, I couldn't tell you squat about what the doctor said that day, but I could tell you about what Biffy said about Buffy and her boyfriend sitting behind me, you know. And it's like, come on, guys, you know, some people are here to learn, you know. And eventually graduated, and you know, when it led to a great career, you know, I got to travel all over the world and do all kinds of cool stuff. So
It's a lot
know,
easier as an adult learner going back to school.
it is. I mean, it's a whole different world, you know, because really usually when you get to college, that's the first time you get to go out and party the way you want to without having to answer to mom and dad, you know, and everybody kind of goes, you know, batshit crazy, pardon the French, but you know, it happens.
Yeah.
Then you wise up and realize, wait a minute, knowledge is good. And
But then, yeah, and then you get stuck and you know, you end up with a liberal arts degree, which is basically nothing. You know, it's crap.
well,
And you know, even
I
at,
wonder how people think they're going to get employed with a degree in, you know, like medieval French literature, you know, I mean,
right.
okay.
Well, exactly. You know, then that's my point. You know, even as a psychology major, I can only take so many psychology classes. You have to take all these other classes around psychology to be the well-rounded student, which are, you know, bullshit classes that suck. And on those, my GPA, it's amazing. I did graduate with honors because all my psychology classes were mostly A's and a couple B's, but those were mostly B's and a few C's. But I still graduated above 3.5. In New York, 4.0 is the highest you can get. It's higher in some other states, but that was New York. So I still graduated above 3.5. Made the dean.
Well, it's amazing how your perspective shifts, though. I mean, like one thing that kind of led to my spiritual awakening was I saw the Wayne Dyer movie he was in called The Shift from Ambition to Meaning. And it's all about, you know, in the autumn of your life, you shift away from worrying about scrambling and making the money and getting the pile of cash and paying the bills and doing everything. And you kind of turn yourself inward more toward what have I done that's meaningful? What have I done that has made the world a better place? What have I done that has improved this planet? And, you know, that plus being introduced again to some recreational smoking materials I won't mention because they're illegal in my state, and eventually led to me having a powerful spiritual awakening at a lake in 2014 where, I mean, I was up one morning, I got up before the dawn and I just sat there and watched the sun come up over the lake, and wham, that's when it hit me that I was connected not only to, you know, everything around me, but you know, the planet, the universe, the stars. And, you know, ever since that day, I've been trying to get back to that feeling, and I'm getting closer and closer now without having to, you know, do things that, you know, might get me in trouble. And it's been a real, you know, as they say, it's been an eye-opening experience. That's what they call them, you know.
I don't think they're testing correctly in grade school and junior high and high school to find out what kids really are passionate about. There are tests, because otherwise they would have caught you and me at a younger age when we were just daydreaming.
Well, actually, I found out, and I remembered that when I was like in second grade, I had a lady come talk to me one day and had me do like, you know, say as many words as you can think of in 2 minute kind of things, you know. And my parents got a letter saying they wanted to send me to a, you know, special accelerated school in my hometown, but they left the decision up to me. And of course, in the second grade, you don't want to leave your friends. So I said no. But, you know, I just wonder, maybe, who knows? I might have been up there with Corey Good in the secret space program. You know, who knows, man, what would have happened if that had that transpired. But now I look back on it and I realize, A, it wasn't their fault. B, they did the best they could with what they had. They thought they were being great parents by letting me make the decision, and I was a kid. And, I can't be pointing the finger at my parents on the things that happened to me in my early life and using it as an excuse to feel bad about myself, and that self-sabotage. So, I don't do that anymore. Like right now, I'm thinking about my dad and how hard he worked, like every Christmas season, he would work his job from 9 to 5, come home and have supper, and then go work at the post office from like 6 until 2 in the morning, just so my brother and I would have a decent Christmas. I mean, this man loved us. I know that, but he was cold and distant, unfortunately, because his father had abandoned him when he was 12, that kind of thing. So I understand now, that you can break a legacy, you can break a cycle if you just start thinking about your life and what's transpired, and anyway, there I am again, hogging the conversation. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just wondering how could they do anything different in grade school? Like, for example, I ultimately ended up being a child and family therapist because I was fascinated about the mind. Why do we do what we do? But how do you know that in grade school? How can you even test for that in grade school when you still have to learn all that mandatory BS that we had to learn in order to get to the point of even having a choice of psychology? But
Well, it's interesting,
leading up to
Gregg.
that was just way
I
too
minored
boring.
in psychology. I actually minored in psychology. I started minoring in German because I was still pretty fluent because I'd been there for 7 years and everything. But then I took my intro to psychology course, and boy, it fascinated me. Why do people do the things they do? Why do we think the things we think? And I minored in it, and frankly, now 40 something years later, what I remember is the fundamental attribution era, that something was talked about back then, that, let's say, everybody looks at Hitler and thinks Hitler was a monster, but what do you think Hitler thought of himself? He thought he was doing what he had to do, and so everybody assumed that he was, bloodthirsty and well, he was, he was a bad person. I mean, that's a bad example. You don't need him. You need somebody who's like makes a mistake in public,
The example that I was given, I remember the example that I was given in college. This guy's walking down the street, he accidentally trips on the sidewalk, and somebody on the other side of the street thinks that this person's a klutz when they didn't actually see what caused the error and why it was.
That's right. Yeah, they assume that it's because this person is something that they're not or has an attribute that they don't have, actually.
Yep.
But it's actually caused by the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still today. I mean, like, some people make a career out of it. I mean, like, look at Jerry Lewis, the guy in France. He's worshipped as a god in cinema. He's worshipped as like Martin Scorsese is worshipped here, right? Jerry Lewis in France is a god because he was a comedic clown, and they just loved the way he was able to make a klutz of himself on purpose,
There was this one guy, I think the therapist's name was George Kelly. He was known as the therapist because all he would do is go, and there'd be that awkward silence that after, where that person would say more. They would elicit more information just from the psychiatrist or going, and having that silence. But you'll see that I do that here on Zoom. I'll just go, and I'll let it go silent, and eventually somebody will speak. But now you know one of my tricks.
Well, we're not going to give away all the trade secrets. I'm going to go ahead and let somebody else talk for a while. I'm kind of talked out right now. I'm just enjoying the sunshine out here.
All right. So
enjoying the vibes, and I'm thankful everybody's here. And, thank you for all your the love and support you're sending out, not only to me, but, you know, to all of us. We all need it right now. Because I tell you what, when Mercury's in retrograde, it kicks my ass. I hate to say it. In front, you know, pardon my, I'm an ex-soldier. I just cuss. I can't help it, you know. Anyway,
Well,
y'all have a great day.
I just want before you go, I just want to show you this because I was looking at it. Nicole Bars won the T-shirt. You were 2 off.
Yeah, I was close, man. I was really
Yeah.
close. I was thinking it might be my lucky day, but I figured,
Yeah.
nah, man, she needs it more than I do. I've got a bunch of them, you know. I
Yeah.
wear one every day, so.
It's all good. All right, brother. Thanks. Claudia, what were you doing in the background over there?
You know what? I am moving into a camper van.
Okay.
I retired in the summer. I used to work I'm around San Francisco. I worked as a forklift driver for 25 years at Moscone Convention Center. It was really fun. Anyway, I did my duty. I worked for 40 years. I'm totally having a new life. I'm selling my studio condo. I'm going into minimalism. Thank you. Excuse for the distraction. And I'm totally changing, you know, and currently what I'm hearing on some videos and things, 2 days ago, it's like, get rid of the belief system. That, you know, oh my gosh, I just, you know, it's going to be so cool just to be in the moment and transition and really be authentic the way we want to be. I'm still uncluttering my life from the old programming. And that's it. And this is my whole life. Luckily, my dad was into Vedanta Hinduism when we were kids. And like all you, I was past the books, the I'm okay, you're okay, and the psycho-cybernetics and all that. And it really didn't take a hold. I had the Power of Now in 2003. I didn't open the book till 2006, but you know what? It's all okay. Because it's always okay. And so that's about it.
A lot of people are afraid to show their true self. And we were talking about this yesterday, that a lot of people pretend to be what society expects them to be and will go to their grave never knowing who they truly were. You have no issue with that, though.
No. No. No, I'm fairly bold. I used to, no. I crawled out of a rock. My sisters, one of my middle sister had to apologize to me when I was in my 30s because she used to tell me all the names in the book. And my dad taught me to ignore her when I was 12 or 13. And that's okay to live a safe life, but no, ignoring, no.
So what inspired you to minimalize and just go on in a van and travel?
I had the grace of having a shoulder surgery in 2014. That's when I learned the truth about 9/11. And that's when my sister told me, yeah, Claudia, aliens are real. So I got to look in that. And actually, I'm a little attached to videos, and that's why I'm on here. I just needed to hear something. But anyway, I learned videos. Your question, what inspired me? So when I was injured, I was looking at YouTube, and camper vans caught my eye. And recently I had a piano and I had a desk, and I just, I'm giving things away. And this stuff has been here for a month now. Just yesterday I said, when I go past it, I will take one thing out and take it to Goodwill, because I'm enjoying sitting on the floor. Just simple. Being simple.
Mhm. You know, some of us have been getting this message as well about addictions. You know, people that have any addictions right now need to, well, actually, I hate to say need to, but you should really consider getting over them. Now's the time to purify the light body. And I notice a lot of people are, you know, doing the right thing when it comes to their health right now. And a lot of people are trying as well, you know, whether it's cutting back on some of their addictive behaviors. I'm fortunate that I have no addictions. But well, I guess work. I'm a workaholic.
Right?
But well, where do you plan on going?
Ah, where my intuition leads me.
Beautiful. Where does your intuition want you to go first?
Warm, open, and green like nature. I'll be starting out in Ohio, where it's custom made.
Not right now. You're not going, are you?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna say it's not warm and green there now.
Yeah. Yeah. Monument Valley is one big draw that I want to see. My dad used to talk with me on open hillside or the beach. I also whenever I get to thinking about what's deep inside with my heart, I get emotional. And I could question myself, is that a true deep feeling? And you know what? Yeah, it is. So my plan is getting involved with others when I'm out on the road, because I'm gonna just totally, I was so controlled. I'm a Capricorn. And I was so disciplined and so controlled, and plus with my mother being controlling. But I don't necessarily need to look at her doing that. I'm the one creating my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I have enough discipline in my life where I can go travel by my intuition.
You know, I'm looking at the comments on YouTube, and everybody loves what you're doing. T-Light, Tracy's saying, I'll be right behind you. And Heather's saying you have great energy. Shy One says, Claudia, I love what you're doing. I have been seriously thinking of living in my SUV. So people are digging your story.
Great, because there's so many possibilities out there, and gosh, I'm not dumbfounded with words, but that I'll let that go. We really have a creation, but you know what I notice that I get enthused, I get energy when I'm around people. So if I go up to the mountains for a couple days, I'll be sure to come down and be with people, because it's just so beautiful. And I'm getting into stopping in the middle. This is such quantum energy that we could just stop and be here. And plus it does help that I'm retired. But people who want to live in their SUVs, there's videos on that. Of course, you've all probably seen them, but it's just, we are the creator beings. And then there's this one gal, Lori Ladd. She does simple videos on YouTube. And she talked about what if we wake up in the morning and our spirit guides, they have balloons with us and they have cake, and it's like, yay, you get to do another life day on earth. That's what it's like, I guess. And I want to, I'm
Love
not there.
that. This, how simple is that? I love it. That's great.
And that's it. That is my energy, that is, we get to do these things and hooray and celebrate all the time. And Lori, yeah, and so let's get up and do another day. And oh.
On a quantum level, what you're going to be doing is moving energy all around the United States. You're doing a very important service for humanity by doing that. So you're going to be taking energy from one spot, sharing it, depositing, bringing that energy to other areas where it's needed, without even knowing it, just by following your heart and your divine guidance.
Right. Let's get into the heart. This is the time to feel things, not intellectually think them. Get into the body. I stop in the hallways sometimes. Just stop. Make sure I'm all together. I love it.
How exciting. I'm excited for you. And obviously everyone on YouTube is as well.
And of course, I'll be coming down to see you.
Siesta Key.
Yeah, the Quartz Beach.
Yes, it's magical.
Yeah.
So I'm going to unmute the whole room here. If anyone wants to jump in, you're more than welcome.
I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you for sharing, Claudia. And good luck with your travels. Michelle, you going to speak or are you going to?
Yeah, hello. I'm very grateful, actually. I came onto your Facebook page just before.
Okay.
So I'm late joining this conversation.
Okay.
I was going to share something with you, to share with with people who follow you.
Let me ask you something first, though. Is that a New York or a Brooklyn accent?
Hey, thank you.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm in England.
Okay, yes.
I live near Manchester in the northwest of England.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In a small village, which is, I don't know if people who are on this who've heard of the Spine of Albion. I know Lisa Renee's written about the Spine of Albion.
No.
And it's a female and male dragon lines that travel up the center of England and Scotland from the Isle of Wight. And it's very significant. I only found out a few months ago, but I live near two of the crossing points. There are 33 points where they cross over the male and female. I live near two of those. And one of them is a place called Alderley Edge, which is connected with Merlin. And my story connects into Merlin.
That's awesome. Are there lots of crop circles out there too on that 33rd degree?
Most of the crop circles that I know about have been predominantly down near sort of Glastonbury, that area, Wiltshire, down there. But I believe there were some near here because we have a huge radio telescope near here called Jodrell Bank. And that's also significant. I found out recently. So
tell us about Merlin.
Oh, I got in trouble. I got locked up. I got sectioned. I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening in 2012.
What led to that? Was there something that you did specifically?
No, in 2010, I had some synchronicities with messages about Merlin. 18 months later, I have never meditated really, never done yoga. I just sat at home and basically my Kundalini activated. And everybody thought I was crazy because of what I was downloading. And I just shared a couple of things. And 2 months later, I got locked up. And I was forced to take medication.
What were you sharing that got you locked up? What did you learn and were trying to tell other people?
Prior to that, I had been told I was bipolar. That had been triggered by taking a mixture of prescribed medication. I'd gone into a private psychiatric hospital near here called the Priory. It's quite famous in the South for the celebrities. They have a branch here near here. And I'd been given a cocktail of these drugs because they said, oh, my drinking, I was an alcoholic. At that point, I wasn't drinking alcoholically. But the mixture giving me Librium, which should be for withdrawal from alcohol, along with increasing antidepressant, I had psychosis in there. And the staff, I didn't say anything. I was seeing and hearing things, but I didn't say anything. The staff thought my behavior very strange. And it was the staff that told the psychiatrist, we think she's bipolar. So I do know, when I had my awakening, I definitely was not psychotic.
We are all bipolar.
Woohoo! So a lot of people who are waking up are being medicated.
That's how they're trying to keep you under control. I mean,
Yeah.
we think we're crazy. I thought I was crazy once because of the things I was experiencing,
Yeah.
And I went in and I got a cocktail just like you do. And boy, it turned me into a zombie. And it took me maybe 5 years to get myself off of that stuff and realize it wasn't helping me. So kudos for you. Kudos for realizing and, what happened, because they did the same thing to me. That's one way they're trying to keep us from, reaching that critical mass,
Absolutely.
On YouTube, Claudette's saying that so many gifted people get dubbed mentally ill. It's terrible. And I agree, sometimes, and I was the child and family therapist, but I would never tell like the people that I went to school and learned from. Yeah, I channel beings from Zeta Reticuli, that obviously they would have done the same thing with me. And I'm not crazy.
Well, it was completely, I hadn't been on any medication at all for 18 months. But I had appointments, which I didn't go to with a psychiatrist, and I went back to a psychiatrist. And, my higher self took over. You see, I had messages in 2010. I was told by a man who came to where I lived, in the village I lived in, which has this tale connected with Merlin, that he'd been sent there to pass on a message to a woman about the next Merlin. And because of all the synchronicities that happened to me at the beginning of 2012, which were connected to the Epiphany, which is also the anniversary of my mother's death, other things that happened to me on that day. That's when it all happened. And I was sat in front of a psychiatrist a month later and asking the standard questions. Are you eating? Are you sleeping? And suddenly I just said, my higher self took over. It said, I am Merlin. And next thing I know, they're all. But basically, the thing I was downloading things about what was going to happen in the future. I didn't tell them that, but I'm now seeing it happening.
Well, tell us.
Well,
I'm not gonna lock you up.
I was seeing that Manchester is very significant and it's connected with football. What I was seeing that football would be because it's very much, I've always called it the world religion. You call it soccer in the States, but it's a game that is like a world religion because it captivates the male energy. I also knew that Prince William and Kate will be connected with this because he is now talking about mental health and he's bringing it out through football. He's using football. He is president of the Football Association in the UK. And he is using it to put out a message about mental health. So this is what I was downloading. I just knew this was going to be used as a means to open up men's hearts. And if we can take that energy, my God, it can change the world.
There was a quote by George Orwell in his 1984 book about football and gambling. And
oh, really?
A lot of people think that especially a lot of Americans think that when it's football, they're thinking American football, but it could be a European football, soccer, or it could be American football. I don't think it matters because it's the same message. Football. Here, let me do a screen share on this.
Yeah.
This was a quote from George Orwell. Football, beer, and above all, gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. To keep them in control was not difficult. And that's so true.
Absolutely.
It's all about keeping us distracted right now.
No, I mean, look at football. Look at American football. My tribe versus your tribe. Same
Exactly.
with European football.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Germany for 7 years. God forbid I ever got in front of somebody's television if the World Cup was on. They would like attack you with knives, you know? So yeah, it's all there to keep us under control. You're right.
But the interesting thing is, I know I will have to connect with him and Kate, and things have been happening these last few weeks that are going to put me in that position. Because I'm connected.
What do you mean connect?
I'm involved with a place called the Monastery in Manchester. It's a very powerful place. It's a former Franciscan priory. This building is amazing. The energy, the ley lines there are significant. And it was being designated as the hub for the Greater Manchester area for health and well-being and education for one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are a lot of people now who appear to be working with the New World Order. So we think this is all that, but we have to use those vehicles to put out a message across the world. Because I was very reluctant to get involved, and I've had to shift the way I feel about everything to realize we can use these vehicles. So I've been going there for a while, and I've been talking about mental health. And this last week, I've connected with a lady who's involved in the Kate, Prince William's wife. She's now talking about the importance of the first 1001 days from the point when the child is conceived up to age 3, because that time in a child's life is significant for his emotional and mental health. So she's gone out there with that message, and I've connected with the woman who is birthing the new humanity, and that's heard that she's been doing this for about 30 years. So we're going to put on a big conference.
Who's the woman that's birthing the new humanity?
A lady called Julie Gerland. She's based in France.
And what is
I
she
met
doing
her at the House of
specifically?
Commons over a year ago. And the
What is she
reason
doing?
I was focused on her, because she used the one word that nobody else used. She used the word love. She's very, very spiritual. She's incredible.
What is she doing specifically to birth the new humanity?
At the moment, she's been giving these conferences over in India, but she's actually educating the parents. So the people who work with parents before they give birth. I'll send you all the links to her website and to what she's doing. Obviously,
Okay.
You say you work with families, you'd be interested.
You mentioned Merlin is coming back. He might already be here. We have this guy, Phil Christophers. He kind of looks like Merlin. Anyway, he's not here with us right now.
All I know is I have. It's an element of Merlin, isn't it? I think we. How can I say it? There's elements of everything in us.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We are everything.
Yeah. Well, the Maya have a saying, in Lakach Alakin, I am another you. So we have aspects of ourselves everywhere.
Mhm.
I am another you. So.
And that's been before. We are that as well.
Mhm.
And that which is coming. We are everything and nothing. But I'm really excited because I've really been I was really enthusiastic. Then this last year I went through, I don't believe it, I don't want to know, I don't want to do this. And I went into a very, very dark space of disbelief, didn't believe in myself. And it's taken a lot to shift that energy to get back. And now everything's just like, wow, it's speeded up.
How do you find the awakening is going in England?
It's happening.
Good.
It is. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people, waking up. I mean, they're exposing a lot of things here as well. We've got the issue with Prince Andrew. I mean, they've tried to cover up in the past. That's not going away.
Well, Brexit was huge as well.
Yeah, I mean that I knew the significance of that. We had to break free of the European Union. Every country has got to become sovereign, and then we come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know,
And
I've
the
been
young
talking.
people here, the young people, to be fair, a lot of the young people here, you know, we've had that, so they're very angry about that we're breaking free. They don't understand the implications of the Lisbon Treaty and how we were going to be controlled. They didn't understand that, and they still don't. But the other issue is obviously the environment and how that has been used to control people. So we've got Extinction Rebellion here on top of Greta Thunberg, you know? And I've got a lot of people who are really going for extinct. I'm like,
I was just going to bring that up. You know, I've mentioned several times here on N5D, quite a bit actually, on video and written articles about it, about Pluto and Capricorn. The last time Pluto was in Capricorn was during both the French and American revolutions. And what's going on in France? Revolution. There's revolutions all around the world. Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008. It stays there until 2023. And so we've reached the apex and we're coming home. And in the meanwhile, what we're seeing is this rise of the truth vibration as Pluto makes its final turn into home base before it exits Capricorn. But we're watching this truth vibration just continue to rise. And that's predominant right now. Only those of the highest vibration of truth, love, and light are going to be standing at the end. The other ones, they'll just fade away, basically.
I've seen, even before I woke up, I became very aware that history is repeating itself. And the other thing I was downloading when I woke up, because I wasn't sure, I became obsessed with Lyra, and I didn't understand why I was obsessing with this Lyra. What does Lyra mean? And then I realized, oh my God, this is my origins. This is my star origins. And then I had a soul reading with a man called Simon Parks. He's based here in the UK. He has a thing called Connecting Consciousness, and he does soul readings. And 2 years ago, I was like, oh, I don't know, you know, and I saw he had this soul, I'll ask Simon. And he was really, he says, you're very interesting. He said, you've chosen to experience both dark and light. You wanted to experience that side, and you've been here many times. And I know my last lives were as men, because I feel I'm a very male, very strong male energy. But what he said, oh, well, let's see, you were on Atlantis. Yes, you were on a ride. And he went back and said, but your origins in Lyra. And it was such a relief to get that from somebody else. When I didn't know anything. I hadn't studied anything or read anything. I wasn't into spirituality. My spiritual entry has been through the 12 steps. The 12 steps of AA. And it's interesting what you said about addiction, because I've seen a lot of people who, especially people I know who haven't done the inner work, they're fixing themselves on smoking, drinking. A lot of mediums I know have gone down that route.
Here's something that you might find interesting. It's an article on N5D called Lyra, the Home of Human Consciousness.
Yeah.
The beginning of humanoid consciousness began in the area you call the constellation Lyra. Eventually, the consciousness took bodily form in terms of humanoid beings. And within the Lyra system, civilizations began exploding in all directions. And it goes on to talk about more stuff here. But
I've seen that article, actually, yeah.
What's really cool is that, you know, my parents and my sisters all have red hair. My dad has blue eyes. Red hair and blue eyes are the most rare hair eye color combination.
Oh, really?
And they say that the red hair, blue eyed people come from Lyra. So I know that my origins are from Lyra as well.
I have slight red in my hair because my mother had red and her family.
Mm-hmm.
But my eyes are multicolored. They change color according to my mood and what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
They look, actually, if you look at them, they look like a globe. So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I know I've always known from the moment I woke up, I realized that my suffering, what I went through, because I've survived suicide attempts, you know, I've had a very dysfunctional upbringing. I've done a lot of work on myself, even before this. It all made sense that how can you help others and have compassion if you haven't been there?
Well, what we're finding is that, you know, if your universe is going to push you in the direction you need to be, if you're not in that direction right now, and it might not be pretty at times. Sometimes, you know, like with me, I was smoking, and I wasn't eating healthy. So universe said, here's your heart attack.
I remember I shared all that.
Right.
And I was so pleased for you when you came through. We were praying.
Now I'm eating healthy and I don't smoke anymore. So I got out of, you know, several
Yeah.
addictions because of that heart attack. And it's not, it was a message, but for me, but for everyone, that we as a collective have to get over these addictions, because it's crunch time. You know, the light body is coming. So
I know
prepare
last
for
year
us.
I went back to my old habit. I used to self-soothe with food, and I was eating unhealthily, and I didn't really care. I just went through that space of not caring anymore. It's like, oh, whatever. But I felt I had to go there again. And it's like I got really back down the rabbit hole with this 5D and Extinction Rebellion. And it was very, very heavy, very, you know, being judgmental. I found myself back in that space for a while. And then I've shifted it, and I'm seeing actually everything's perfect. This is because waking up people, to the youth, to everybody, to the importance of our environment, they're just confusing it with climate change. It's not caused by carbon.
Yeah, you can
I've got fed up with arguing with people, so I just leave them to it.
yeah, everyone, at least most people here in the United States, know that Greta's full of BS. You know,
But here they believe it.
Well, I mean, the mainstream media is going to push that narrative regardless.
And so does Extinction Rebellion. And the person behind that, she previously worked for the government, NGOs, and the telecommunications industry.
Yeah, yeah. They're basically Antifa themselves. Yeah. You know, it's like here in the United States, you know, the mainstream media will tell us, oh, Bernie Sanders and whoever has a lead over Trump. It's crazy. There's no way. Trump can fill a football stadium and have people waiting outside, thousands of people waiting outside. They're drawing more people for a Trump convention than, you know, the debates that they're having. You know, when you put all 5 or 6 people up there on stage for the Democrats, they can't come close to what Trump's doing for you know, his convention. So what the mainstream media is telling us a different story, though, and
All the time.
Nobody believes that. It's like the BBC. Do you trust the BBC there?
Interesting. I was just watching a woman. She was reporting about what these developments regarding Prince Andrew, the Madeleine McCann, etc. And she said the interview with Prince Andrew, although it was done on the BBC, they did not expect that to happen the way it did. So in some ways, it's been a benefit. But it's totally, yeah. My sister used to work there. I know people who work there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's again, it's a filter. Everything is, you know, it's controlled.
Yeah, they were the BBC were the ones who announced 20 minutes before Building 7 collapsed that Building 7 collapsed.
I've seen the video. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle. I draw a card for you.
Hello.
Three of Cups.
3 of Cups. Sorry, you've drawn a card.
Yeah, I draw a little card for you.
Yeah.
3 of Cups. It's success, abundance, and good luck, fortune, victory.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Yeah, happy issue of an undertaking. So
But then what I'm doing is not just for me, it's for the whole of humanity.
Well, good luck for all of us.
It's like at the moment, you know, I'm healing myself from a basal cell carcinoma. You see, I've got
What are
this
you doing?
plaster here.
Oh, yeah.
And the dermatologist said to me that I'd need to have it cut out and I'd need at least 8 stitches. Now, I saw him on the 1st of December. And after about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I'm thinking, well, I've not heard about my follow-up appointment. So I know it's possible to heal. There are alternatives. So I've just ordered myself a cream. And now I'm using this cream, which will destroy the cancer cells and it won't leave a scar.
I'll be bringing back Andy Monk's. You know, he told me that when I had stage 3 skin cancer and it had spread to my groin and my underarm, they removed glands from both areas. He said they shouldn't have done that. They should never remove anything. He said, even though it had spread, it could have been.
It could have got worse. It will spread even further. Yeah.
No, he said it would have receded if I had just went on a fruitarian diet.
Well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer 6 years ago. And I listened to that inner voice. And the inner voice said, this is just an imbalance. So I went on a journey of discovering the truth about cancer.
What kind of cream are you using?
It's called Curaderm, Curaderm. And it's made from eggplant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
You know, look it up and you can share it, because they also make creams to protect you from the sun, which are not cancer, and because most sun creams are actually causing more cancers. So they're making the same. It was developed by a doctor.
Here in the United States, a lot of the sunblock that they have has retinol palmitate in it, which is a synthetic vitamin A, I think. But it actually has been proven when it interacts with chlorinated pool water to cause cancer.
Yeah. Well, once you go down the rabbit hole of finding out things, you just find out more and more and more. So, and then I found out.
Knew it.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell you all, I had, 2015, I had a mole under my eye and it was cancerous. It was a hard year, and I was drinking a bit, and uncle passed, my sister got divorced, and I took off. Well, I went to Kaiser and I got the mole cut off, and they biopsied it and said, yes, it is cancerous. It was too much of a hassle to go down and get people to drive me and do everything. I said, forget it. I took off work in December and I delved into spirituality, and it cleared up.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Love and light.
Yeah.
Right.
I just imagine it dissolving every day.
Yeah.
The other thing I found out recently, you know, I manifest things so quickly now. I'm not intending to, but every thought is literally coming into. So I'm brushing my teeth one evening and I'm looking in the mirror, I'm thinking the year is 2020, clear vision. I'd like to get clear vision because I wear glasses for short-sighted. And I know it's possible to actually heal your eyesight. People have been on Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreats and healed their eyesight. And the next day, in pops an email to go on a workshop with this German man who's teaching people how to heal their eyesight.
Great.
And 2 days later, I shared this at a breathwork workshop, and the woman who had organized, she said, well, I did that myself. She said, I just kept on telling myself my eyesight is perfect. And she said, it all corrected. See, we can achieve anything, basically.
You know, I do have an article on in 5D on how, and this works too. I've done this myself.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
it's called the Bates method.
okay.
And what you end up doing is you end up like standing with your feet like at a 45-degree angle, and you spin around and you focus on your thumb and you just keep going back and forth. There's different exercises that you can do.
Mhm.
And what it does is it ends up readjusting your retina and your lens and everything. I wear contact lenses, and my vision went from, I think it was -4.25 to -3.5. It increased that much in just a month of doing
Wow.
that. And then I stopped doing it, and my vision hasn't gotten any worse, but it hasn't gotten any better since I stopped. But it does work, and you can correct your vision holistically.
So that's what else I'm going to achieve this year.
Well, just
So
like
I can see clearly again.
a normal thing for humans is not to focus. That's what we are doing every day, all the time, right? And that is actually making our eyes contract, and it's like a muscle. It's gonna stay contract all the time. It's like yeah, it's not good for our eyes to focus all this time.
So a lot of people spend time on the computer and their cell phones and stuff. And you have this artificial light that's bombarding your eyes, along with reading small text and everything. Yeah, that makes sense,
I've got some special glasses for that.
right?
I have to go and find them, but they're not that cool. Everything's orange when I wear them. Everything.
Orange is a great color.
What's the situation with protection for 5G over there? Because I know in the States it's more or less covering the whole of the country, isn't it?
It's go ahead.
I have a little story to tell. I actually read a news story here in Denmark. One of our first towns that allegedly should have installed a 5G, right? Called Esbjerg. They have never had so many children threatening the teachers. We have like 200 or 300 accusing police records for children being dangerous for the teachers. And I associate it with the 5G. Usually they use 5Gs at schools and at education places and stuff. It's wow.
So they're saying that the 5G, the correlation is 5G harbors aggression, or you become aggressive when those. I could
distracting thoughts, and
it's a dissonant energy wave.
Of course, there's no. I haven't heard any other making the same correlation, but I'm pretty sure that's why. They have never seen so many children being aggressive towards the teachers.
And what are they? But nobody's making that correlation.
I don't know. I made it.
Because that's how I was concerned about the 5G, because it can be used for mind control. And obviously with a lot of kids, young kids who are constantly on their, on their phones, but we're exposed 24/7. It's causing cancers, it's causing mental health problems. It's, we're sensitive, and not only that, it will kill all insect life, all sentient life will die.
We've seen examples of that, I think, here in the United States, where we see these birds that just fall out of the air, groups of them. And I wonder if a certain frequency attacks certain birds, that kills them automatically.
but it's not just what's on the ground. It's they're going to, you know, they're projecting by the end of next year or 2022, there's going to be like 20,000 satellites, and most of them at the moment are going over the United States. So I was just wondering, you know, I know here that there's a movement, a lot more people are getting active around the 5G movement.
Not that I noticed here. I don't see a lot of activism here. I'm sure there is, but I'm just so busy working. It's not in my reality.
No, I went down that route, so I was, and it just so happened, like I turned on the radio one day and they had a phone in, and some guy rang in on this phone in to talk about 5G, and he was bringing it to the fore and to the public. And you know, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. It's often the case that I connect with people like that. You know, what are the chances of me turning on the radio? Because I don't listen to the radio much at home. I'm only in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a lot of activism going on about it. I don't see a lot of it though in my own reality. So yeah, anyone else in the United States that is seeing activism and stuff going on about 5G?
Well, I have seen some Danish people making videos, YouTube videos like here about it. But I don't know how much it's spreading out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But we are pretty much aware of it. Normal, interesting people.
Yeah, I'm sure ultimately it's not healthy. And is it really worth that extra data downloading that much quicker?
Well, I actually read an article or something that some tests actually shows that it's not really better. I saw a video. No, that wasn't it here. Some guy told that when his telephone goes on 5G, it's very bad. He could not make live up records and stuff when it turns on the 5G net. And there is stories about it's not. It's a cover up for getting it out, spread out. It's not for better telephone and communication. No.
There was it was announced that I think there were 5 NFL National Football League stadiums here in the United States that are 5G.
Yeah.
So that I'm not sure. I bet you though, that you could have a processor in a cell phone or in a computer. I'll bet you there's the technology for a processor to download and handle whatever 5G is able to do with 3G. It's got to be within the processor. The technology's got to be available, but of course they're not going to give it to us and show it to us. They want the 5G to come in to fry our brains, but it's frying their brains too. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm shifting away from. I believe at some point the whole of it will just be taken down. That we work, you know. I just believe it'll bring us together for a while, but some people will suffer. But I trust that everything's going to be okay. Yeah. I can't go down that route of
absolutely,
because it's an energy. You bring it on, and we create our own world. So I'm not even going into it anymore.
Yes, that's probably why I don't have a lot to say about it. Because
it's like people going on about this coronavirus.
I hope to move beyond that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another hoax that they're blowing out of proportion.
I don't think it's a hoax. I think there's a reality to it. But, you know, it's like, it's another form of, the people who are suffering, who are dying, are the ones, the elderly, the ones who've already got an existing condition. And more people die of the flu every year.
Yeah. Yeah, ultimately they want everybody to be vaccinated. You're right.
No way.
You say. So
In the States, you have a lot of vaccinations, don't you? My sister lives there with her family, and is it 48 vaccines before they're 18?
At least, yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of those are multi-vaccines. There's like 5 different vaccines in one shot. There was only, I think, 10 when I was a kid. I'm not going to say it. Oh, no, I'm going to say it. When I was a kid, there was only 10. But now there's a hell of a lot more.
I know.
well, we're still a kid. Grown-up kids.
Yes.
Yeah, I get in trouble with my own children for being like a child. They say, "Oh, grow up, mum."
Right.
Well, if you grow more up, you'll be a giant.
So whereabouts in Denmark are you? Is it Bo?
Yeah, Bo, Axel Nielsen. Just call me Ben.
Ben?
Ben. Yeah, I usually only have Ben, but this is also my name on YouTube.
Uh-huh. And where in Denmark are you?
I'm on the 55th parallel in something called Broby. It's like a bridge village, if I should translate it. Yeah. So yeah, on the 55th parallel, not 20 kilometers from Odense, if you know Odense.
So you have very short days still there.
Yeah, well, it's gonna turn here in a month,
Mhm.
right? Then the sun is gonna take over, and we're gonna have more light than darkness.
You need the light.
Oh, we all do. Yeah. Or we are making it ourselves, from the within.
Mhm.
So
Here we've had, it's not, I mean, they keep on saying in the papers that we're going to have lots of snow. All winter they've said that. All we've had the last 2-3 weeks is masses and masses of rain and wind, and a lot of places are very flooded here at the moment.
ditto, right here too. And it's amazing, like Sweden and Norway. We are making heat records. And
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah. What was it? 8th of February. They made was it 12-degree record in Stockholm, and that's like 60 years since that has happened since last.
Yeah, I was in Stockholm many years ago at this time of the year, and it's usually very, very cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But that was the old days. now they have it over in the America, yeah? I heard they are very cold over there.
The middle of America, isn't it?
Well, there's
Yeah.
a cold front going through right now, and everyone's going to be affected by it in the next few days.
Yeah.
Is that the whole of America or just the central America?
Here in Florida, yeah, there's this
Remind
cold
me.
front that's coming down. Yeah.
All right.
Don't
They are-
remind me.
Yeah. They are also breaking records.
Oh. My
I'm
sister's
smack dab in the
house.
middle. So,
My sis-
Illinois.
All right, my
Wow.
sister lived in Houston, and her house was 7 foot under in Harvey.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was very fortunate because she was having her downstairs, all the floor revarnished in the staircase. So she'd moved all her small things and pictures, everything upstairs, and they were staying with friends while the varnish was drying. And then the floods came. So all her little things, her things she treasured, were upstairs, and they were saved.
Intuition.
Yeah.
but it wasn't playing. She was showing me. She was on television, and she was sent me the television. She was interviewed, and her going in, you know, on the boats to the house, and they could get in on the top, on the first floor, and going into the house that way to get their clothing out. They had nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
7 feet, 8 feet under. How many
Sorry?
feet? How many feet
Seven,
under?
7 feet. She was 7.
Wow.
There was 7 feet. It's the whole of her ground floor was flooded. Whole ground floor.
It's interesting that you said 7 feet instead of, I don't know how many meters that would be, but
2.5.
I don't do meters.
No, she don't.
oh, I didn't know that. I thought you guys did meters
Ah.
over there.
I'm the
Ah.
old school. I learned at school feet and inches. I didn't learn meters.
Okay, I didn't know
So
that.
I would have to think, I have to convert. And even now I struggle to visualize meters.
Yeah, it's like I can't do Celsius either. Like we're expecting a high of like 61 in a few days, which is cold for Florida, but I'm guessing
Yeah.
that might be like 16 Celsius or something like that. I don't know. Guessing.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
too
probably
much.
16, 17, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't convert that. I just know that 0 is 32, I guess. 0 Celsius.
Yeah, 16.
32
Yeah,
is,
I just looked it up.
what was it? Was it 16?
16.1111.
How about that? I'm getting better at my guesses.
So, Greg, where is Siesta Key?
Gulf
On-
Coast of Florida.
Whereabouts?
The Gulf Coast.
Yeah, but whereabouts?
Western
on the
side of Florida.
west.
Mhm.
So is it above Sanibel?
Above where?
Naples,
Oh,
Sanibel?
Sanibel. Sanibel? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my parents live down by Fort Myers, which is near Sanibel.
Right.
So yeah, it's a little north of that, maybe an hour north.
No, I've been to Marco Island twice.
Mhm.
Yeah, the beaches along that coast are amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love Florida. I was born in New York, but I'm a Florida guy. I love Florida.
It's the only place I've been where I've had a gun pointed in my face.
Well, that's something to remember.
I was working in Miami at the time.
I remember when the Beatles, watching this documentary, and the Beatles came back from their first trip to the United States, and they were asking them what was memorable about the States, and George Harrison said, "Oh, the sun in Florida," and then Ringo said the same thing, basically. So they were really impressed that apparently we have the sun here, and you guys don't get a lot of sun there.
No, that's why they wrote a song, "Here Comes the Sun."
Yeah.
Whoa!
Because the Beatles come from not far from where I live.
Okay.
Liverpool is near Manchester.
Okay.
Literally, it's what, 40 minutes away? Yeah.
The last 2 summers has been pretty good, huh? Not?
Not this one, the previous one was. Yeah.
Yeah,
the previous
yeah.
one, but not this last one, no. No.
You're right, yeah. You know that memory. Yeah, it's right.
But I never ever forget the summer of '76. That was great.
I was only 1 at that time. I don't remember that.
I do. Ooh. I was just finished school. It was the best summer ever. Hot days all day, every day. No job, no money, but it was wild.
Freedom!
Mhm.
And then came the life of adulting.
Yeah, but it was interesting listening to what you said before, because I was very much, about school and finding things that you're interested in. because I actually really used to enjoy going to school because I enjoyed getting away from my home. I hated being at home. And I was very interested in bringing about peace because I never had peace at home. And then I thought I'd go into politics. And my father persuaded me not to do that. And
Wise man.
I ended up studying business studies. And I ended up being a CPA. So left brain, it was like, I was good at it, but you know, and then I had my children. I wasn't meant to go back to work. I was very ill. So it made me stay at home. And that's when my mental health started to suffer. Yeah. Because I didn't realize about hormones and everything else and what effect that would have on me, postnatal depression. And then a husband who's not well, he's, you know, in addiction. It was impacting on me. He was actually a workaholic, Greg. It really impacted on me and the kids.
It's easy to become one if you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah. But it made him, you know, very, very ill. He had a breakdown when he was 28 and he thought he'd had a heart attack. It was stress related from being addicted to work. Yeah. And he's gone back into that again over the years. And he's had 2 heart attacks before he was 50 and he's not learning.
No. He's got to take it easy, learn how to relax and ground.
But he doesn't, it's not his only addiction. There are other addictions. So.
Well, we've been on for a couple hours. I think we're going to wrap it up at this point for this spirit chat. I want to thank everyone for joining us here on Zoom as well as on YouTube. Be sure to stop by in5d.net to check out killer shirts like this. I'll be uploading some more tomorrow. I can't wait for those. They're going to be amazing. And thank you for everyone that's been part of our In5D Patreon family. You can join us there at patreon.com/In5D. And not sure when the next one will be that we're going to have. But I do know that we're having Adrian Goff on next week on Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern. So be sure to tune in for that. But I'm sure we'll be on before that anyway. So until that point, I'm sending you all infinite love and light. This is Gregg from in5d.com. Namaste, my beautiful family.
Thank you.